Good morning, Hank. It's Thursday, November 5th. In your video yesterday, you asked if I would discuss the political situation in Pakistan while eating something that isn't food. I am, of course, happy to accommodate that request. While I discuss the political situation in Pakistan, I'm going to attempt to eat 24 Peeps pumpkins. Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying, wait a second, Peeps pumpkins are food. Oh, really? If they're food, how come they don't contain any nutrition? Hank, for the purposes of our story today, we're going to begin in 1988. Pakistan is holding its first free election in a decade, and the winner of the election is a woman named Benazir Bhutto. The prime ministership of Pakistan went back and forth between Bhutto and this guy named Sharif. Now, Sharif happens to be president in 1999. And because his government's kind of corrupt, a lot of people are unhappy. There's widespread rumors that there might be a military takeover in Pakistan, which has happened plenty of times before. The head of the army is this guy, Pervez Musharraf. Musharraf leaves the country to go on vacation, right? And while he's out of the country, Sharif announces that Musharraf is no longer the head of the army. So Musharraf gets on a plane, like a regular commercial plane. When he gets to Karachi, Sharif, the prime minister, says to the airport, "You cannot let that plane land." And the airport's like, okay, you're the prime minister. So Musharraf's plane just keeps circling, right? And Musharraf literally uses the air phone in the plane, or maybe he illegally used his cell phone, I don't know. But he calls the army, and he's like, hey guys, can you take over the airport in Karachi for me? And they're like, yeah! So they invade the Karachi airport, take it over, Musharraf's plane lands, with 5 minutes of gas to spare. These are going down like butter. So, Pervez Musharraf becomes the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Now, it's 1999, Pakistan has just made itself a nuclear power, which made America mad. And then, this unelected dictator general guy becomes Prime Minister, which is just so 1970s South America, you know? We're not getting along well with Pakistan at all. And then on September 12th, 2001, all of a sudden, Pervez Musharraf, good friend of ours. Now, some people would say that Musharraf has been generally pretty cooperative with the United States as far as terrorism goes. And that's true to an extent, but I would argue that the radicalization of Pakistan would never have even happened if it hadn't have been for Musharraf. Example, the last time there were free elections in Pakistan in the late 1990s, radical Islamic political parties won about 6% of the vote, as I recall. Now analysts say that they could win up to 40% of a free vote. Now, during this time, one of the few things that's keeping Pakistan from being an all-out dictatorship is that Pakistan still has a sort of quasi-independent judiciary. So in early 2007, the Supreme Court made Musharraf mad, and he asked the leader of the Supreme Court to resign, and the leader of the Supreme Court said, no thank you. And this kind of symbolized his general weakening, and plus there had been a lot of talk about elections, and so Bhutto and Sharif see this as their opportunity to come out of exile back to Pakistan and restore democracy, or at the very least become the new dictator. So Sharif flies in from Saudi Arabia last month, and he's met at the airport by the army, who tells him nicely that he should either consider going back to Saudi Arabia or consider dying in jail. Sharif, needless to say, don't like it. I've been waiting 20 minutes to tell that joke. Then Bhutto comes back from Dubai to Pakistan, and she is actually allowed entrance back into the country, although she's almost assassinated on her way to her house. Then Musharraf decides that he's going to put most of the Supreme Court under house arrest, along with a lot of the other top judges. He also decides to suspend the Constitution and severely curtail freedom of press. Ah, yes! I ate the Peeps! The first people to protest the suspension of the Constitution and the removal of these judges, all of Pakistan's lawyers. Hank, how screwed up is the world when lawyers hold the moral high ground? So Hank, that's the news from Pakistan. I never thought I'd say this in my life, but go lawyers. I'll see you tomorrow.